All right, my goodness. We are on the live. My goodness. All right, so we are definitely starting the show today. And did you know that something as simple as sugar could be actually silently destroying your heart and also actually driving your blood pressure up to the roof? That's exactly what is happening to a lot of people who don't know. And most of us think sugar, we think of sugar as, just an indulgence, just this piece of chocolate here and there. But in reality, it is a ticking time bomb for a lot of people, and especially for your heart.
Yeah, so every teaspoon of sugar could be spiking your blood pressure, putting you at risk for heart disease, stroke, and even heart failure.
My goodness.
So it's not just about weight gain anymore. We used to think of it that way. So it's not just about that, it's about saving your life.
It is about saving your life. My goodness. My goodness. It is about saving your life. And in today's episode of the Life and Health Show, let me tell you what's up. This is what we are doing. We are diving into the hidden dangers of sugar and why it is so much worse than you think, and what you need to do right now is what we're going to show you on this episode of the Life and Health Show.
Yeah, so if you care about your health, don't skip this.
My goodness.
Yeah. So what we share today could be the difference between a healthy future and also one plagued by heart disease.
My goodness. You want a future that is plagued by heart disease, or you want a future that is safe and sound without any issues with your blood pressure? That's what we're definitely going to be dealing with today. So we're going to be talking about what we are going to completely focus on this show. And the first one is we're going to be talking about how sugar actually contributes to blood pressure. How? You probably saw it and he's like, really, sugar making my blood pressure high? We're going to talk about that.
Yeah, and the long-term damage to the heart and arteries.
All right, we'll talk about that. And we also hit on the strategies to cut back on sugar. Some of the strategies, simple, lifestyle changes that you can do.
And also, the fourth one will be healthier alternatives to manage your cravings. We know we all love sugar, right?
My goodness.
So, what are the alternatives? What are the things that we can do differently so that we don't fall into that category of people?
Right.
So, before we tell you how sugar raises your blood pressure, let's talk about what blood pressure is. We cannot just jump in, right?
Definitely, because some people are like, I don't even know my blood pressure. Oh well, we're going to show you if your blood pressure is high. We actually have a chart here that we can quickly look at, and you can tell if your blood pressure is in a range where we can say it is bad, or if you are in a safe place. And if you are in a safe place, you just have to guard yourself against your pressure going up. But suffice to say that a normal blood pressure, according to the American Heart Association, is we are showing a table on our YouTube live screen. Those of you watching on YouTube, according to American Heart Association, normal blood pressure is one which the systolic is less than 120. So the systolic is the top number. If it is less than 120, and also the diastolic or the bottom number is less than 80, then your pressure is normal. You are in a safe place now, but probably not completely off the hook until you live a better way throughout. Yeah.
And also, it's known your blood pressure may be known as elevated when the systolic is between 120 and 129.
Okay.
And the diastolic is less than 80.
Definitely, diastolic is less than 80, but the systolic is elevated. You are still in the elevator column, right? And then your pressure is potentially going to be said to be high or hypertension stage 1 if you have a systolic number or the top number between the numbers 130 to 139. So if you have a blood pressure machine at home, before we finish the show, you could grab it and check to see if you fall in any of these categories. But that is, you have elevated blood pressure if it is 130 to 139 on the top number, or what we call the systolic, Or if the diastolic or the bottom number is between 80 to 89.
It's not elevated by stage one.
I'm sorry, stage one. Well, you passed the elevator. You already
Right.
passed the elevator. All right.
Yep. And you're considered to have a stage 2 high blood pressure if your systolic number, meaning the top number, is higher than 140, or the bottom number, which is the diastolic, is higher than 90.
That is stage 2. That's you are past class 1.
Yeah.
You are past class 1 in hypertension. You are in class 2 or grade 2, depending on where you go to school. All right. And then hypertensive crisis is when you have graduated. You are waiting to just fall down and die or something bad happening. That is when your the top number or the systolic is higher than 180. And then the bottom number is also, or even less, by the top number being over 180 is a crisis. But if on top of that, your bottom number, which is the diastolic, is also over 120, then you are also in a crisis. So you could be either on either side of the equation here, of the fraction, if I should say, because the top could be elevated by itself to a higher number of over 180, and it's a crisis situation, or maybe less than 180, but then the bottom number is higher than 120. In this case, you are still in a crisis situation. And as I always say, if you measure it now and you are within this range, you got to put down your phone or whatever you are watching us from and hit the emergency room. Go to the hospital right now, because all it takes is somebody saying something and you freak out and your stroke happens right there. You get excited too much and a heart attack happens right there. That's why some people sleep and they don't wake up, because it was already bad. You try to do something in the night and something else, caused their pressure, to skyrocket to an unsafe level, and they fall a victim to a hypertensive crisis and died. So definitely, if you are within this range, you should not be watching. Much as we want you to watch, please put your phone down, call 911 or 999, depending on where you're watching us from, and seek for immediate help. But that is, I think, a quick summary about hypertension. And before we actually go on, remember we were also saying that hypertension is number one of the top things that are hurting people is the fact that hypertension is killing over, well, it has affected over 1 billion people, I should say. Over 1 billion, more than 1 billion people worldwide are living with hypertension. We don't know the stages they are in, but you can easily move from a stage 1 to a crisis if it's not managed or if you are not taking care of it. So this show is particularly important to those who are either in the elevator column, already stage 1, stage 2, or if you are already in a crisis situation.
And the statistics also show, if we want to break it down, 1 in every 4 adults have hypertension.
1 in 4.
1 in 4.
That is really serious.
Yeah, if you pick 4 people,
one of them will have
4
hypertension.
has hypertension.
And that's a good way of saying it, so that it makes more sense. Because when you say 1 billion, because billions of people live in China, you would think that that's not a lot.
From there.
Yeah, but 1 in 4 makes it more real. If you have 4 people in a family, potentially 1 person is hypertensive. And this is when they even check. God knows who is checking and who is not, checking. So this is serious stuff. But if one thing you do concerning sugar, if you can see the dangers of sugar and change your lifestyle, maybe you may not even go near the elevated column, let alone become hypertensive. Or if you're already hypertensive and you do certain changes, potentially you can reduce your blood pressure to a state that you may not need medication, or even if you need medication, it may not be as much as somebody who is not doing anything at all and continuing to eat sugar. So we will use this show to talk about the dangers of sugar on your blood pressure and also on your heart. And we will know at the end of the show, we all know how bad sugar is for your blood pressure. Yeah. Because sugar is not just bad for your teeth, as most people think, or just for your waistline, as most people also know. No, well, if I eat sugar, I'm going to gain weight. Yeah, that's true. Sugar can also make your teeth decay, but that's not just that. it is a serious state of affairs when it comes to hypertension and your blood pressure. So that is what I would say. And I don't know what you also have to say about that.
Yeah, so I think also sugar, when it comes in play, people think more of diabetes.
Okay.
Sometimes we don't really associate sugar with blood pressure. We worry about people with diabetes, like, oh, don't eat so much sugar. Oh, I don't eat sugar because I'm diabetic, right? And what we've also realized is if you are diabetic, the chance of you having high blood pressure is very real, right? It goes hand in hand. So if you're not diabetic, you still have to stay away from sugar. As our show is about, we are about to talk about how sugar affects blood pressure. Just pay attention and see how the link between what high sugar and blood pressure can be. So it's not just about for people with diabetes. It's also for everybody, every adult, even the children that are coming up. You need to know this so that you can know ways and means not to be hypertensive.
Definitely, definitely, definitely. I like that segue right there. So now let's talk about how sugar actually raises your blood pressure. Now, studies have shown that consuming sugar, too much sugar, added sugar. Maybe before we even go there, what are some of the things that contain sugar? Because somebody may say that, oh, I don't eat sugar. But then there may be the people who actually eat the most sugar because they don't know what they're eating has sugar in there. So before we actually talk about how sugar raises your blood pressure, what are some of the things that contain sugar? There's your phone somewhere. It's a phone there.
Yeah.
Move it. So some of the things that contain sugar, just a quick review, I should say. Your cakes, your candies, obviously, right? Your preserved foods, your anything that potentially tastes sweet that is not from nature. In other words, it may be something that somebody has made and it is sweet. That thing contains added sugar.
Added sugar. So we know that the natural foods that we have around has glucose, all right, have sugar in it, all right. But that's the natural sugar in the carbohydrates that we eat, right? The glucose in the carbohydrates that is already in the carbohydrate white foods around, right?
Like
so
your
that's
rice,
the rice, the potatoes, the plantains, and all
the
that.
yams, the yuca.
Yes. So that's the natural glucose or sugar in that. We are stressing more on the added sugar, in the pastries, in the sauces, like
The
in
drinks.
the dressing that we use in our vegetable salads and all that. So like the donuts, the added sugar, the sprinkled sugars and all that. So pay attention to such things as we keep mentioning sugar. It's more with the added sugar.
More with the added sugar. Now that being said, much as we are talking about the added sugar, if you can cut all those starchy foods, which ultimately break down into sugars too, even so much the better.
Yes.
But we got to start from somewhere. So we are assuming that this is your first time of hearing that sugars lead to blood pressure and heart disease, right? So let's start with the added sugar, the one that is so obvious. You add it to your tea, you add it to your coffee, and you taste it, and you know it's sugar. It's candy, right? So you add it, and you know it is in there because you put it in there. Let's start from there, and then after that, we can go to all those starches and rices and all those complex carbohydrates, which ultimately also break down to sugars. So for now, if you can bear with us, let's talk about how those added sugars, of course, and other sugars, lead to hypertension or high blood pressure, right? Studies have shown that consuming too much sugar can actually raise your blood pressure faster than you think. I mean, it's not something that people usually think about when we talk about sugar.
Right.
Everybody's mind go to what do you call it? Diabetes. Everybody thinks, oh, I don't want to have diabetes. I'm not diabetic. I can eat sugar
as much as I want.
As much as I want. But all like Gifty said, they go hand in hand. You may get hypertension before diabetes, all because of the same sugars. So that is what sugar can do. It leads to blood pressure hikes even faster than most people think. Faster than most people think. So when you eat or consume sugar, which in this case we are saying we are limiting to added sugar, the sugar you add to your stuff, especially in large amounts, what our bodies do is they respond by releasing insulin. Now, insulin is a hormone that we have mentioned a few times on our show or on our channel. Now, insulin is released whenever you eat sugar or when you consume any kind of sugary drink, food, or anything that is, having carbohydrates. It's a hormone that is released so that when it's released, your body, due to some science, will open up some channels and then glucose can be picked up into your cell.
Right.
So without insulin, the glucose that is absorbed into your blood will continue to linger in the blood. But as soon as insulin is released, then your glucose gets picked up into the cells so that you have, the uptake of the sugar, which is converted to the glucose in your, and then you have it in your blood. So anytime you eat sugary foods, insulin must be released. Insulin must be released. But then insulin doesn't just get released and do the job just by itself. Insulin works with a guy we call sodium. Come on, man. And most of you will remember we talked about sodium leading to hypertension because of all the other things, water retention. You didn't know that sodium's work also goes hand in hand with insulin. So you are eating sugar, and what happens is the sugar that you eat spikes up insulin release. Insulin gets released because, of course, there's sugar around, right? And that doesn't help at all. It doesn't help. What it does is it triggers the kidneys, to retain more of the sodium, which we want you to get rid of. It's sad. You are getting the sweet tongue, all right. You're getting the sweet taste, and you love it. You don't think about, hypertension or heart disease. You're thinking about diabetes. So your family doesn't have diabetes. But hey, newsflash: when you eat that sugar, the insulin that is released causes your body to retain sodium. And as you know, we said that sodium retention, when sodium is retained in your body, then nature, I think we had a very good analogy last time. Like, the taste of your blood or body must be constant, is balanced, homeostasis. So if your blood must taste this way, if you add more sodium or salt, so simplicity, let's say you have more salt retention, your body is retaining salt, then obviously what has to happen is that your fluid must be retained. You must retain water so that the taste of your blood will remain the same. Oh, come on, man. I like that analogy.
Yep.
Right? So it leads to fluid retention. You add sugar, and then sugar causes insulin to be released. Now, brother, insulin says that before I work, sodium must be retained. And then sodium retention leads to water being held.
Right. So that extra fluid, right, that you've retained increases the volume of blood in your body, putting more pressure on the walls of your blood vessels. So over a period of time, this constant strain on your arteries causes them to become stiff. Yeah, making it harder for your heart to pump blood effectively.
My goodness. And that is essentially hypertension right there. My goodness. So now, go ahead.
So as your blood vessels narrow because of the stiffness, right, it narrows and become less flexible, your blood pressure increases, which in turn increases the risks of heart diseases, heart attack, heart failure, right? It can also lead to stroke and other serious conditions. And let not forget that sugar also contributes to weight gain.
My
We all
goodness.
know.
My goodness.
Another major risk for high blood pressure.
My goodness. So you see how sugar has done it. Sugar, you are sweet, but not that much for blood pressure. Sugar is good, but not that much for blood pressure. And weight gain, which of course, if you're already conscious about diabetes running in the family, it's not going to be that much for you. And so cutting down sugar is really, really important.
Yeah.
Cutting back sugar is like number one key thing that we must all strive to do. definitely, because of what sugar can do, indirectly raising your blood pressure, in a way that you would not even think about, So, but the story doesn't end there.
Oh,
High sugar intake also promotes what we call chronic inflammation in the body. Oh my goodness. My goodness. You are eating sugar and your body becomes wholly inflamed. Your whole body becomes inflamed, inflammation, including in the lining of your arteries. The blood vessels become so inflamed that over time, this leads to damage. And also, the damage will lead to buildup of plaques in your arteries. And if you watch that long enough, you remember that we say that when plaques are formed, what they do is they are waiting to be pushed off and lead to a clot formation, and that clot can lead into a heart attack or stroke when it is lodged in a tiny vessel, whether on the coronary artery or in some of the cerebral arteries in your brain. And so sugar is not your friend. Sugar, oh come on man, let me hit that. Sugar is definitely not your friend. And so that is what sugar can do. Then it narrows your arteries and drive your blood pressure high and all those other things that we have already mentioned with sugar.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the next time you reach out for sugary snack, remember, it's not just your waistline that is at risk. Every gram of sugar is putting your heart and blood pressure in danger.
Oh my goodness, my goodness. Every gram of sugar that you eat, that it's. We are going to go. I'm sure we are going to go into it, but suffice to say that it's not that bad to especially avoid added sugar when you have to. But I don't want to get ahead of ourselves, so let's not go. It's not too late anyway. If you're already consuming sugar and you have a sweet tongue like what I used to have, because sweet things are sweet, honey.
Yeah,
Come
no,
on,
it's
man.
not only you, it's everybody.
I don't want to speak for people, but anyway, if you are watching and you agree, put it in the comments, put it in the chat somewhere. Sweet things are sweet. If you have this, sumptuous chocolate full of sugar, milk chocolate, really good. Your dentist may say that don't eat it a lot because he is scared of
Your teeth, right?
He's scared of cavities. Your doctor may say that, oh, you may gain weight, you should cut back. But the sad thing is not just that, it's leading to heart diseases. But sweet stuff are sweet, they are good. Except that from today, look at sugar and other sugar with suspicion. Suspect them when you see that. When you see that nice looking sugary snack.
The cake.
The cake. Oh my goodness.
Cookies.
Yesterday I did good. I felt really good.
Yeah.
We went to a wedding and they were passing out nice cake. And the server brought mine. And I'm like, thank you, but I don't want it. I was so proud of myself.
I just took like a piece. Yeah, not a scoop, just to taste it.
Oh, you cheated. Come on, man. You don't qualify to talk about it. You should have said no, bro. All right. Yeah, and that's a very good point because for some people, absolute abstinence may not be the way. They'll be like, no, I can't live my life like that. And it's okay. Just taste it. And so that you can also say that cake was good.
Was good. That's it.
But just one bite, But other people too, when you give them the chance, you'll be like, hey, who can eat and say that I'm not full? I gotta be full, and they will eat everything. And that's where we don't want you to go. Right? That's where we don't want you to go. So cutting back on sugar, especially from processed foods. Processed food. The cake is a processed food. We made it. Or sugary drinks. You buy this breakfast joint. You go there every morning and you get your coffee there, or you get your snack there. Be careful about the sugar that is added. You have these soda fountains, and nobody cares how much you get. They'll give you a huge cup after you pay a little bit.
Even if you ask for medium cup, they still
sometimes
give you
a
large.
Even the huge
extra
medium
large
is even too big. Anyway, and it is sugar laden. It is full of sugar. You got to be able to say that. You know what? I'm past this. I'm growing.
I'll go for water.
I'm going for water. But again, those are some of the techniques we have not gotten there yet. But we are going there. And sugary drinks and processed foods. they can have an immediate and lasting impact when you cut them down on your heart and overall health. If you can cut them right now, starting slowly. And if you stay tuned, when we come back, we actually going to go into details and show you practical steps, that you can actually take to reduce your sugar intake and lower your blood pressure naturally. Natural sweetness. I'm going to show you how to actually eat your cake and have it. Sugar, but not from sugar, right? Come on, man. All right, so stay with us. We'll be right back. All right. We are back. We are back live. We are back. All right. So now, let's talk about some of the simple ways to cut back on sugar. We actually started a little bit, but we're going to go into further details and practical ideas for you to know how to cut sugar. So reducing sugar in your diet doesn't have to be that complicated, right?
Sure.
It could be, but it doesn't have to be.
It doesn't have to.
If you think about it so much, it's gonna be. But as we said, start by swapping those sugary drinks. You like sodas, right? So swap the sodas with, some kind of water. If you can just drink, some people are like, oh, I can't drink water like that. I got to have something, something to pinch, something that is pinchy, something that is fizzy, whatever it is. Start with water. If you want the fizzy water, there are fizzy waters.
Oh yeah.
Sparkling water, what do they call them? Yeah. All those are there. But definitely swap out your sodas and also your energy drinks with water, or better still with herbal teas. If you like teas, those are good. Again, not sugar added teas, but plain old tea. And somebody was asking me how I'm able to drink coffee black, and I don't feel like it is
bitter.
It is bitter. It is all, I should say, in the mind. I made up my mind that I'm not going to add sugar to my breakfast or any drinks that I make. And since that time, even the black coffee still tastes like there's sugar in there because my tongue has adjusted to it. I don't even know. The person that asked me didn't know that I don't even feel the bitterness anymore because I'm used to the taste. And that's how it starts. So in the beginning, it may sound like me drinking coffee without milk, without cream, no sugar. You try it, by slowly cutting back. If you put maybe, say, 2 scoops of sugar in your coffee, start with, say, 1 scoop, and then eventually go to a half scoop. And then at some point, the half scoop may be like, you don't even taste it, so why bother? That's how I did it anyway. I said, I don't even taste the sugar, so why bother? So I took out the sugar completely, and I drink my coffee, and I'm good. Same with tea, and of course, water is no. You don't add anything to water. Occasionally, like you said, maybe occasionally, especially if I drink my coffee, and I don't have my regular sandwich, like I needed a heavy breakfast. Not for some reason, maybe I ran out of bread. I ran out of my whole grain or multi-grain bread, and I feel like I need some energy. Occasionally, I may put a scoop of milk, just so that I tell myself, even if I don't have bread, I have some energy from the milk. But that's again in my mind.
Just not really give any energy.
Just to have that comfort,
Yeah, and also I think when we think of making tea or coffee or anything of that sort, the way that we've been brought up, there is no way that when we're growing, you saw anybody going for coffee just for coffee. We also you should have your sugar and your carnation milk and your coffee and your spoon side by side, especially when you are served, when somebody served you. Because that's how we know how coffee is made or tea is made. But today we are learning that we should try and be suspicious of the added sugar.
Oh, come on, man, suspicion.
We see the
Suspect them.
sugar like, oh no,
Oh
you.
no, you are here to get me, but I got you first.
Yes. So we just have to do the tea, the sugar. Just try it and see that naturally it has sugar in there already, like you're saying. Yeah, because these other group of people can just drink the coffee. Like, how can you do that? Because me, I have to add my sugar and my milk, So we don't need all that extras. We can still have the kick from the coffee if we don't saturate it with milk and sugar.
My goodness, my goodness. We don't need all that.
Extra. And also, you mentioned the sodas, right? Sometimes we hear, oh, stay away from soda. We stay away from soda. We think it's just the one in the can, right? That is soda. You can just pay attention to the other drinks. I think we used to serve a lot of the Snapples. So we read the labels and we are
Yeah,
like,
we thought
oh
that,
no,
they
it's
call it
it's
fruit
healthier.
juice. It's
Yeah,
fruit
fruit
juice.
juice is
But look at the sugar.
healthier. It's healthier than soda. But you'll be surprised how much added sugar is in these drinks. So your best bet is water. Go for water so that you don't worry about these extra sugars that you don't need. Because maybe for all that you have had your plate of rice with the leaves and all that. You have enough calorie at that setting. You don't need that extra added calorie added. You'll be okay with just plain water. So let's try and learn it. That is a simple, practical thing that we can do in order to reduce the amount of sugar.
Oh my goodness. My goodness. Simple, practical ways of avoiding sugar. And the key, what you mentioned something that I want to throw a light on. You said that they all have sugars, and that's the key. You may think that, oh, I need sugar to do this. Everything that you intake has sugar. It's just the amount that may not be a lot. So if you drink plain coffee and you didn't add sugar, I don't think you're cheating anybody. You have the natural sugars in there already. So you add sugar, you are making it worse by adding sugar. That's what we call them added sugar. So most of the foods we eat already, I shouldn't say most, everything you eat already has its natural glucose embedded in there. Whether it's a complex sugar that breaks down into glucose or simple sugar in there, they all have their sugars. So when you don't add sugar, you're actually not cheating anybody. You are just going by what nature has made with it. Because when your body sees it, it can break it down and still get some of the sugars that are there for your body to survive. So don't think like, oh, I didn't eat anything. Yes, you ate that coffee, that tea. It's got some glucose in there. So don't feel like you need an additional,
sugar.
You need additional sugar. You have to have bread with it. You don't have to. It's all in the mind.
That's how it's made, right?
That's how I've seen people make it.
Right.
But on this channel, we are teaching you, or we are learning all together, and saying that, hey, don't believe that. Don't be suspicious, as we said, of sugar, because it may lead to other things, right? So, and that brings us to hidden sugars that we're saying that they add up fast if you do not watch out, because they are in everything.
Right.
The hidden sugars are in everything. All right.
Yeah, I think I alluded into the next tip, right? So if you learn how to read food labels, then you are sure of what you are taking. Because if you don't know, you don't know. And maybe with the drinks that we're talking about, because you didn't read the label, you drink one whole bottle and you feel like you're still thirsty and you go for another bottle. By the time that you realize you've consumed 600 calories without even you knowing, right? So if you read the label, then you know for sure that I'm taking this food and it's only 200 calories and I'm okay. Sometimes too, you have to learn it in such a way that sometimes the 7 also tells a lot, because you can see that, oh, the calorie is 50 calories, right? In that bottle of soda. But you forgot
You are
that.
being generous. It's never 50.
No, it's 240, right?
Yes.
To be
There's
exact.
a lot.
240.
It
Just
depends on
even other things, not just for drinks. You can say that the 7 is 240. Just 1 7. And it will go on to explain what 7 is.
What a 7 is.
A 7
7
is. So,
size.
like, even if you take the nuts that we're encouraging people to take, right? It will tell you that 1 cup is 240. 1 cup. So if you go ahead and consume a whole bag, so if you have 6 sevens in that bag, it means that you are multiplying the 6 by the 7 size, which is 240. Then at the end of the day, you've consumed the whole bag. It means that you've consumed over 1,000 calories. So you have to learn the labels. You have to know what's in each item that you're consuming. The best way is to what? Stay away from the processed foods at all. If you get confused, right? Because if you don't really know how to read the labels, there's a lot of things that you think that you are doing the right thing, but your blood pressure keep going up. Your sugar is not well controlled. Then you ask yourself, why?
You're gaining weight.
Yeah, you're gaining weight, and the weight is not going anywhere because you are reading the labels wrong, or you're consuming extra calories that unconsciously you don't know because you are not reading the labels. So learning how to read food labels is very important. You'll be surprised how many food contain added sugars, right? Even things like salad dressings, like I mentioned, the sauces. You know, you are eating healthy, you are adding the salad dressing, and for all that you know, you've added 2,000 carbs.
My goodness.
Without even knowing.
Even though you're adding it to a grain,
To grain.
that we want you to eat, but you juice it up with too much sugar.
Yes.
The calories in
the
there.
calories in there because you are not reading the
The
label
labels.
of whatever you're adding. So opt for fresh, you know, whole foods whenever possible. You go for the fresh and the whole one, your chance of not eating, reading the label right is gone because you don't even eat that. You go for the fresh. So you stay away from processed foods, which is easier to avoid added sugar.
My goodness. Some of the processed food, we don't want to list any processed foods here because we don't want to say that we don't want you to watch and say that, oh, they didn't mention my favorite, so it's not a processed food. Anything that is made by somebody that you pick up and you just eat,
It's
processed. Oh, come on, man. That is processed. That's as simple as that. So
yeah, I think last time somebody was talking about avocado and guacamole.
Yeah.
Right. So the guacamole is that some people will process the avocado fruit into a different form. No, though avocado is healthy, because somebody has sat down to process it,
it's
to
processed
add
food.
things,
They have
and
added
to-
salt.
and to
They have
do
added
other
other
things
stuff.
with the natural state of the avocado, it becomes processed food. So instead of going for something that has been processed, the chance of them adding sugar and salt is very high because it's processed. So why don't you reach out for the fresh, the original state of the
Original
avocado
one.
and just eat it so that your chance of eating extra calories and sugars
Or
is
you can
reduced.
process it at home yourself.
Yourself,
If you just like
so
the
that you
way
know
it is
what you
with it.
added in,
Yeah.
right?
Whatever it is that entices you to buy it, you can do it at home yourself. Some of these machines they use are easy and you use them repeatedly, so it will pay for itself rather than to say that, hey, I like my guacamole, I like my hummus, I like my this. It's natural. Yes, it is, but they add stuff to it. They add sodium and they add preservatives. So you process it yourself and you know what you're adding to it. Or just don't process it if you don't have time. Like I do, I cut my avocado in 4 pieces and I put it on my bread
Ready
and
to
then
go.
ready to go. I don't have time to mash it into a guacamole, which, I mean, if it's there, fine, but I don't have time to read that and see how much sodium. Well, just stick to my natural thing. I just add it and I'm done. And some of these things we take for granted. It's like, but the incremental changes that you do will eventually add up, and before you know, you are losing that weight, and your heart is safe. Your blood pressure is going down. You are doing all the things right. So yeah. So also, when you are craving something sweet, this is the second tip.
The
Right?
third, Hannah.
Oh, is it the third? Oh, when you are craving something really sweet, I know some people are saying that you can tell me that I can't have a chocolate. You can have a chocolate once in a while. Chocolate is actually has its own benefits, especially
The dark
chocolate, and of course the non-sweetened chocolate. So once in a while it is okay. But what about some other sweet things that you may be craving for? Give me examples. Cake. The sweet cake, pastries, sweet pastries. Some of them are really good.
Oh yeah.
You bite into it, and you know how, apart from the fats in there, which are also not good, you get a tongue blast of sweetness, which is good if you don't take care, you continue to eat them. But let me show you, or let's show you some other way to satisfy your sweet tongue. You know?
You sure?
Yeah. Oh, come on, man. Yeah. So, unless you are an absolute hater of nature, then you're going to say that, no, I don't want that. But hey, if you just want to taste some sugar, sweetness, that's all it is, right? And avoid the real added sugar. Eat some stuff that are naturally sweet, such as, fruits. Fruits, fruits like what? Blueberries, strawberries, apples, they are all sweet. And I like apples. I use apples a lot of the times to satisfy my sweet tongue. When I feel like I should eat something sweet, I wash my apple and there it goes. And by the time I finish a whole apple, I feel good, because I have satisfied my sweet tongue. I know the sweetness of an apple. And the good thing is, not only did I enjoy that sweetness, I got on some fiber. Oh, come on, man. I got my tongue sweet and I got my stomach happy because next time I use the restroom, I'm not going to have to push because I got the fiber on.
Right.
And the fiber is also going to help with my cholesterol.
Right.
And because it's from the sweetness is from the nature in apple. I mean, apples itself, not somebody adding the sugar to it.
You don't have to read the label of the apple.
I don't have to read the label of the apple. And not only that, not all the sugar that I'm chewing from the apple are going to be absorbed because of the fiber that comes with it. The fiber is going to prevent all the sugar from being absorbed. But if I had drank an apple juice, means that somebody has taken the sweetness and concentrated it together in a liquid, and I drink it, my stomach doesn't have any fiber to deal with. So it's going to consume all the sugar. So even though it's an apple juice, you can say that no sugar added. But because there's no fiber, I will end up getting more sugar than I need. So that's the key there. You getting your sugar, I'm getting my sugar, but you're getting tons more of sugar, however natural it may be. My sugar will be better because I ate it with the fiber. And the fiber prevents all the sweetness from being absorbed. So that's a really good trick to stay and keep your sweet tongue and still have it. Eat your cake and have it, but don't eat your cake. Eat your apple and have it. So that's another one of the things that you can do. And we can talk about other fruits. We used apple as an example, but berries, whether it's strawberries, blueberries, blackberries, red berries, all raspberries. The berries, raspberries. Sometimes you don't just eat them by itself. You can put them in the, a dry oats, something. I mean, come on, man. And you can taste the sweetness. Right. There's another food that you actually sometimes you mess with our nuts. What's that?
The cranberry.
The cranberry, dry cranberries, right? Those are also good. Sweet. So I'm getting some sweet candy, but because it's nature, I'm cool because I'm getting the fiber and also the vitamins as well as the antioxidants that come from nature with it, and they all actually benefit my heart. So I'm eating sweet, all right, but my kind of sweetness is giving me vitamins, antioxidants, and then heart protection. And so that is what that next step is.
Yeah, so making these small shifts, right, can have a big impact on your health overall. Reducing sugar isn't just about weight loss. It's about protecting your heart and lowering your blood pressure.
My goodness.
For the long haul.
Oh, right? Yeah, for the long haul. It's not just for one time, but for the long haul. That's why initially when you start doing it, it may not be readily, seen that your pressure just went down just because today you stopped all the sugar. It will take time.
Right.
So it is for the long haul, for the one that has the future in mind.
Yeah. So like it's bit by bit, like time over a long period of time. You can't just stop today and you're like, oh, I didn't see any change, so I'm going back to my my drinks and all that. It's for the long haul.
For the long haul. Yes. Definitely. So we want to learn from you. If you have been doing anything new or different from what we have said, there are tons of other ways of cutting back on added sugar. But because this is a show, we can't use all day to go through it. So if you know any other technique, any other tips that we did not mention, put it on the chat when you watch it, so that other people can also definitely learn. So tell us some of the ways you have been doing it. Or if you are struggling to cut down sugar, tell us also in the chat and say that, hey, I have been struggling. I actually have a family history of diabetes, but I can't stop eating these sweets. Tell us. Perhaps somebody will see and also respond. We will actually respond if we see that and potentially help you with some of those things. And if you found this information that we have shared today also helpful, don't forget to like on TikTok, follow, thumbs up, all the other good stuff that we have on Facebook and all the other platforms that we are usually on. And every week we bring you the latest on how to prevent heart disease and stroke, and even diabetes also. So you can live, longer and healthier if you are watching us all the time.
Yep. So, and remember to share this episode with your friends
Oh,
and
come on, man.
family. It's time we all take control of our health. One small step at a time. Reducing sugar intake is just the beginning. So together we can make a real difference.
We can make a real difference together. Come on, man. That is what's up. I've really enjoyed the show. I like it when we break it down in simple terms and in practical ways,
Yeah,
And so,
and with sharing too, I would like to add that if you share with your family and your loved ones and the people close by, and even because of what we do, when we go outside, it serves as a check
yes.
for us. So when you get together as a family, you can share this idea so that whatever food you bring to the table, we are all conscious, right? We are all suspicious of the sugar. So if you are bringing in foods that is all full of sugar, you become suspicious because oh no, we want to control our diabetes, we want to control our blood sugar, blood pressure. So you have to watch what you bring to the table. So together as a family, we all work towards having a healthy lifestyle.
Oh, come on, man. That's good. That's good. Now stay tuned for our next episode every Sunday evening. And one Sunday we come with health, another Sunday we come with finance and some life issues, because we believe in one unique item in scripture which says that, dear friend, we wish that you prosper and be in health, even as your soul prospers. So we want you to stay with us. Next week we will come live with another piece of episode, whether it's on the live shows or on a health show. We hope that you make time with us, but definitely don't forget to comment. If you have any questions, put it on there. I actually had a QR code in case somebody wants to, basically have a one-to-one chat with us. That would be something that we could also do. Let me see if I still have it. I can put it on, and we will do that. Yeah, so you can scan this if you feel like, hey, I got some questions. I want you guys to answer my questions in the future, and I'll set that up for free. Just a book, and we can chat. Those on Facebook, YouTube, you can see YouTube and Facebook can see this, but on TikTok you cannot yet. So I think that's what our show is about today, and we want to say thank you for joining us and staying all throughout this almost an hour show. And I will close off by saying, Beloved, we wish above all things that you prosper and be in health, even as your soul prospers. And God bless you for watching. Thanks.